From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now the latest news.
Kylie Conway has the latest news. The top headlines. News you can use.
Please stand by.
Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, July 19th. Dry, a little warmer today, and not too much humidity. Highs will reach the mid-80s. And this morning, Wish TV medical expert and former Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams is taking a stance. Adams says the CDC should be advising people to get vaccinated and mask up in areas where the Delta variant is spreading. Instead, he says the agency is taking a vax it or mask it approach. Dr. Adams took to social media this weekend to express his regret that he and Dr. Anthony Fauci did not more strongly advocate mask wearing at the beginning of the pandemic last year. His concern today is that the CDC is repeating the mistake after rolling back guidelines for indoor mask wearing. In an interview that you'll only see on Wish TV, News 8's Nina Criscolo asked Dr. Adams why now is the right time to speak up.
Dr. Adams, how do you frame the message to Americans that masks are needed to protect themselves, even if they've already gotten the vaccine?
That is a great question, and it is a tough needle to thread. But again, we want people to understand that, look, we still don't even have half of the people around us in most communities vaccinated. So we're not doing a good enough job getting people vaccinated. But we're also finding, and you saw in Indiana, a nursing home outbreak recently that Dr. Box talked about from the State Department of Health. We're seeing sometimes these breakthrough infections in people who had compromised immune systems. And so not everyone is going to be 100% protected, even with a vaccine. Not enough people have a vaccine. And the best advice I can give anyone watching right now is if you want to avoid mask mandates, if you want to avoid closures, if you want to avoid these other mitigation measures that are intended to protect us, then we need to do a better job of protecting ourselves with the best defense we have, vaccinations.
You can watch the full interview right now on wishtv.com with Dr. Adams. Just grab your phone or go to your desktop, wishtv.com. Click on this story. It's in the As Seen on Wish TV section at the top of the homepage. Easy to find. U.S. tennis phenom Coco Gauff will miss the Tokyo Olympics after testing positive for COVID-19. The 17-year-old made the announcement on social media, writing that representing the country has always been a dream. In her words, now I hope there will be many more chances to make this a dream come true in the future. The Summer Games start Friday. And this morning, the CDC's vaccine tracker shows 56% of those who are eligible for the vaccine have received at least one shot. Health officials have a warning for people who are not vaccinated. John Lawrence reports officials say new infections and deaths are likely those who have not gotten the vaccine.
You choose either to be vaccinated or to accept a higher rate of unnecessary death.
COVID-19 cases rose in 48 states over the past week, with 30 of those states reporting more than a 50% hike, according to Johns Hopkins University.
I am worried about what is to come because we are seeing increasing cases among the unvaccinated in particular. And
U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy says nearly 100% of recent COVID-19 related deaths are among those who haven't had a shot.
It is our fastest, most effective way out of this pandemic.
Health officials say the highly transmissible Delta variant has changed the face of the pandemic.
Last year, if you were infected with the virus, you had protection that lasted quite some time. That is no longer the case. And if you've been previously infected, you are not protected against Delta variant.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the vaccination rate in the U.S. is slowing, with just under 49% of the population fully vaccinated.
I do encourage people to get vaccinated. I don't think it ought to be something where we're going door to door and mandating it on people. I think what we should be doing is a much more effective and massive public media campaign.
Ready? Mm-hmm.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Vice President Kamala Harris is not believed to be at risk for contracting COVID-19 after a meeting with lawmakers who later tested positive for the virus. Harris met with a group of Texas state lawmakers last week in Washington, D.C. The state's House Democrats are part of a group that left Texas to block the passing of a new voting law. 5 have tested positive for the virus. According to the vice president's spokesperson, neither Harris nor her staff came in close contact with the people who did test positive. Investigators are trying to piece together what led to a deadly shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. IMPD was called to the scene on Marion Avenue just before 9 last night. It's near 21st and Shadeland Avenue. According to officers, the man was initially listed in critical condition, but did later die at a hospital. This morning, Police have not identified the victim, and there's no word on a possible suspect. Noblesville Fire Department is issuing a warning this morning after multiple water rescues over the weekend. According to the department, 5 people were stranded in the White River after their raft caught on debris. Crews were able to quickly get to the rafters, but because they were already on the river training when the call came in, it was the second water rescue of the day. Firefighters say until the water recedes to normal levels, people should stay out of the water. Senate Republicans are pushing back on bipartisan infrastructure plans. Ohio Senator Rob Portman says an IRS proposal is being cut out from the bill he helped negotiate. The proposal would have given extra power to crack down on people who do not pay taxes. Portman says other Republican lawmakers did not approve of expanding the IRS.
Another reason is that we found out that the Democrats were going to put a proposal into the reconciliation package, which was not just similar to the one we had, but with a lot more IRS enforcement.
Senator Bill Cassidy is waiting for the next text of the bill to make his decision. The Hill reports the Louisiana Republican will not vote to open debate on the bill until he sees it. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says he would physically leave the Capitol to prevent the passing of the separate budget proposal. USA Today is reporting that Graham told other Republicans to learn something from Texas Democrats and leave town when the bill came to a vote. A delegation of Texas lawmakers are in Washington, D.C. to prevent the vote on new voting laws in their home state. U.S. diplomats in Austria are now reporting signs of a mysterious illness known as Havana syndrome. CNN is citing 2 sources who report that this year there have been about 24 cases among U.S. diplomats, intelligence officials, and other government personnel. The illness was first reported in Cuba 5 years ago. Symptoms include sudden vertigo, nausea, headaches, and head pressure, sometimes accompanied by what's described as a piercing directional noise. Police in Washington, D.C. are looking for a car involved in the shooting that stopped a Major League Baseball game. 3 people were injured in the shooting outside of Nationals Park Saturday night. The game was stopped and picked back up yesterday with increased police patrols. Justin Hinton met with fans and the team's manager about the chaos.
It's a family affair at the ballpark for Aaron Douglas. She joined thousands of fans one day after gunfire erupted outside of Nats Park in the middle of a game.
We thought that was an incident that was isolated. We did read more into it, that it was between the 2 cars, so it wasn't inside the stadium.
That's part of the reason why she decided to bring her 2 young children. Though in this day and age, she's constantly thinking about safety.
On a daily basis, and that's sad that we have to think if we go to a public event, how would we exit this event leaving with our kids and their safety?
This latest incident follows a string of high-profile crimes near Nats Park, a March 23rd carjacking that led to an Uber driver's death, and a June 9th attempted carjacking that led to a man getting tased. I asked Nats manager Davey Martinez about the impact those events have on fans and staff.
What do you say to them who may be scared to go to work, or for the fans who are scared to come to a game?
You know, I love this city. You know, the city is my home.
The toll of it all really setting in.
It can get crazy. We all know that. And we all want to feel safe. I can tell you that inside this ballpark, I feel safer than ever. I really do. We care about each other. We don't want anybody getting hurt. So, like I said, for me yesterday, I try to protect as many people as possible.
Despite what appears to be a recent rise in violent crime, the deputy mayor for public safety and justice says the opposite is true.
We do see our numbers coming down in shootings and homicides throughout the city. We want to keep that.
7 News on Your Side checked MPD's data. In 2020 saw a 4% decrease in violent crime from 2019. And as of July 16th, 2021, violent crime was on pace with 2020. Though city leaders condemn any form of violence, saying enough is enough.
You guys ready to go in? Come on.
Calling on the community to step up and make a difference.
That was Dustin Hinton reporting. D.C.'s mayor says she does not believe the ballpark or any fans were the target of the shooting. And today, the demolition of an apartment building to make room for the I-69 expansion. The demolition company says it'll take down one of the 3-story apartments at Aspen Lakes at 8 this morning. The apartment complex is near Southport Road and State Road 37. That area will be used for an off-ramp for an I-69 interchange. A back-to-school festival for Indianapolis Public Schools. IPS designs the event to help provide thousands of supplies and resources for students and families. You can get information packets, clothes, supplies that families may need to get ready for school. It can all be picked up at the Drive-Thru Festival. Just visit the Children's Museum Polar Bear parking lot from 11 to 2 or 4 to 6 o'clock today. A warning from Fishers Police. The department says people should be on the lookout for strangers approaching houses. According to Fishers Police, 2 people were lured out of their house by a man pretending to be a tree trimmer. Once the people were out of the house, a second person broke in and stole personal property. A water park near Houston, Texas is closed after a chemical leak. Over the weekend, more than 100 people, including children, were treated or taken to the hospital. Mario Diaz explains what officials believe led to the problem.
There was a mandatory evacuation along with a decontamination zone. Folks lining up to be sprayed down. 31 people were rushed to the hospital, including Stephen Morris, who had returned to the park in his scrubs along with his 9-year-old daughter, Leah.
I thought it was a terrorist attack. It felt like we got gassed.
Morris says he knew something was wrong when Leah began crying and vomiting. Doctors and nurses telling Leah her oxygen levels were low.
I just started coughing, and then my eyes swollen up.
Emergency responders from several agencies rushed to the scene, and families were ushered out.
In the area around the kiddie pool in this water park, a lifeguard was sick, and soon after that, more and more people began becoming sick. Children were walking out of the pool with respiratory issues.
The Harris County Fire Marshal's office believes the chemicals involved are bleach and 35% sulfuric acid. Morris has questions.
I want to know, how did it happen?
County Judge Lena Hidalgo says they are working on it.
They took samples of the water and they took samples of the air to try to see what it was that was causing this issue. Every sample that they took was within the acceptable limits. But obviously we had evidence from these folks being sick that something was wrong.
That was Mario Diaz reporting. The fire marshal's office says Splashtown had an inspection last month. And this morning, people are trying to come to grips with the aftermath of deadly flash flooding in Europe. At least 189 people are dead in Germany and Belgium. The National Crisis Center in Brussels says at least 163 people are missing right now. German Chancellor Angela Merkel toured the devastation yesterday. She says the flooding is a signal that Germany needs to accelerate the fight against climate change. And wind is fueling the flames of a wildfire burning in Northern California. Now, families are being forced out of their homes. The Tamarack fire has been burning since July 4th. High winds and dry conditions over the weekend caused it to intensify. According to the U.S. Forest Service, the fire has charred more than 18,000 acres and is 0% contained. One evacuee says that the fire grew so fast that it caught him and his family off guard.
They gave us about 20 minutes notice. It looked like they said the fire was like 5-6 miles away, and about an hour later, it was right on us. They didn't give us any time at all.
10 homes are destroyed, and the fire is threatening an additional 200. Indiana health officials say cases of RSV are on the rise. News 8's Demi Johnson explains what parents should be looking out for.
The increase in infection has caused Riley Hospital for Children to tighten restrictions once again. Doctors say they're seeing a handful of cases every day.
It feels hard to talk about this with people.
It's been one hit after another for healthcare workers. Dr. Rachel Peterson says as more COVID-19 restrictions loosened, other illnesses began making the rounds.
The rise has been pretty exponential and definitely atypical of summers. And so it almost looks like we're in the middle of winter if you look at the RSV data.
Peterson, a pediatric hospitalist at Riley Hospital for Children, says RSV can affect people of all ages, but it's most severe in young children and infants. Peterson says the symptoms are similar to a cold, but can become serious very quickly.
We're seeing these kids admitted to the PICU, the pediatric ICU, filling up beds there, and then and even on our hospitalist and pulmonary teams as well.
The CDC issued a new warning last week after seeing an increase in RSV cases in southern states. Doctors here say Indiana is not far behind. The CDC says this year some children may be at risk for more serious cases of RSV because they were not exposed to it during the pandemic. The illness accounts for 58,000 hospitalizations and between 100 and 500 deaths among children under the age of 5 each year. Peterson says things we've done to prevent coronavirus from spreading can also help slow RSV rates.
It's really hard, though, because I have kids myself and I can't keep them out of daycare, and I'm not going to keep them away from each other. I think that it's caught everybody, including parents, off guard this summer because it's just not when we normally see this and when our guard is normally up.
There's no specific treatment for the virus. Peterson tells me if you see your child's cold becoming more severe or if they start to have trouble breathing, take them to the hospital right away. Reporting in the newsroom, Demi Johnson, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
And finally, Indiana Dunes National Park officials are looking for public comment to help make the park better. The park wants to develop a strategy to add new services. Potential additions could be bike or boat rentals, horseback riding, or guided tours. 2 open houses are set for Thursday and Friday at the National Park in Chesterton. People will be able to leave online comments. This morning, details on how to do that are being worked out. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
The News 8 Daily 8 is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.
Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast.
The News 8 Daily 8 with Kylie Conway. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.